Hello everybody and welcome back to a new war stream. Today I have with me Julianne Harty, our product owner. How are you feeling?
Good, good. I'm doing very well today.
Awesome. The game has been out for 2 weeks now. Has it been received as you anticipated it?
Yeah. No, I've been very pleased with the people playing it and how the game's been received. Being very happy with just the work and the passion that people have been showing. Like anyone who's been in the Discord knows that I pop up every once in a while, and I really appreciate the fact that people will talk to me and tolerate some of my crazy ideas about four-winged raptors. It's still my favorite. So yeah, no, it's been great. Really pleased with a lot of the stuff that's been happening. So
cool. We had a patch coming up, went live yesterday, and the highlights were some stability fixes. The first pass on the 21.9 monitors, there's still some work to be done there with like the menus and stuff, but it should be working now. Navbar popping up in-game, finding matches in matchmaking has been made easier. And when we look at the data from it, it really looks like it has improved. But if you're still having issues with this, please report them to us at support.secondextinctiongame.com and let us know what's happening. So before, we have a lot of questions because you were supposed to be here 2 weeks ago and I got sick.
Yeah.
So that's my fault. But we had a lot of questions coming in from you guys that we have kept and that you're going to answer. But before that, you had some points that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of put this in a state of the game letter, but over the last few weeks, as we've been watching people play, there's been, and some of the feedback that we've been getting, there's been some kind of consistent stuff. So off the top of the head, straight away, we know that you guys want some sort of in-game communication. So whether it be voice chat, whether it be text chat, you're right, we should have put that in almost immediately, and so it's going to take us a little bit of time to work out exactly how we will implement this, obviously because we're working on the console version as well, and so we got to be a little bit cognizant of making sure that things are compatible across both platforms, all platforms. But that is a key piece of feedback that we've heard, and we'll be looking into it, into how we will be implementing it. Until then, we do have a range of callouts and emotes which you can utilize to kind of point in that direction. I believe if you are Rosie, you can call out many times that you need to reload, that your baby's drawn dry. I think that's been fixed though. So definitely heard you guys on that one. Another thing that we've heard about, kind of hearing back in terms of the matchmaking, is that the matchmaking system may be a little bit wonky. You may sit in queue for a fair amount of time. That doesn't mean that no one's playing. It doesn't mean that that the system is not working properly necessarily, but this is something that we are keeping an eye on. This is a co-op game after all. This is very much meant for multiplayer, not necessarily for solo. So if you are experiencing matchmaking problems, please let us know. That is something that I'm keeping an eye on personally, because I want to make sure that everyone can get into a game that they want to get into, because we all know that solo is brutal. Speaking of solo, we are aware that the game does kind of say on Steam that it is possible to play single player. I know that a lot of people have jumped in thinking that the solo experience is adjusted for them, and it really isn't. And so that is something on our end a little bit to make sure that we communicate that appropriately. Just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean it should be done that way. Having said that, we do have an upcoming feature. We call it out in the roadmap. It's called Free Roam. That is going to be a bit more solo friendly. So it is not going to necessarily be something that you have to jump into with a team or with people. Same as if you're a solo player, you don't necessarily have to run into missions. You can go through this free roam area, but we'll have more details about that when that gets closer to being implemented, as we're still working on fine-tuning some of those pieces. Last thing that wanted to bring up would be some of the feedback that I've been getting through the Discord. I've noticed some common elements. I believe melee weapons was something that was relatively popular. I know there was a question asked of me a couple of days ago whether or not we are considering melee. This is a game about shooting dinosaurs. If you really want to hit someone with a stop sign, we hadn't designed the game to be stop sign friendly, but this is meant to be a collaborative process. So if this is something that you guys feel like you really want to have, stop signs notwithstanding, I'm more of a fan of chainsaws. Yeah, 2 chainsaws.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
get too excited about the idea of dual-wielding chainsaws, right? But yeah, if there is something that if it's something that you really want to do, if that you feel like there's an additional challenge, stick it in that feedback. Like, it's not enough that one person says it. I want to see more people say it, and the more people that say it, the more that we're likely to look into it and say, hey, this is something that a lot of people want to do. Let's look into how we would implement it. And that goes with any of the feedback pieces that are coming through. Like, another common one has been reload priorities. So a lot of people saying that reload, you can't cancel your auto reload, or that if you're in the middle of, you want to be able to prioritize when you reload with abilities or anything along those lines. And so definitely hearing that stuff and looking into ways in which we can implement that feedback into the game. I think that covers most of the state of the game stuff just off the top of my head. Yeah, if there's any kind of, like I said, that feedback channel is probably the best way to reach us. I collate that. I sit there on a Friday afternoon with a couple of beverages, non-alcoholic, mostly tea. But I do
Nice.
I do pull all that information together and have a look at it, and really want to make sure that your voices are being heard and that we're looking at building the game for everyone. Not just what we like to do in terms of shooting dinosaurs, but what you guys want to do in terms of killing dinosaurs. It may not necessarily be shooting them. You may be chainsawing them to death, which I think was an absolutely amazing idea.
When it comes to the Discord and your feedback there, we're also going to restructure it so it's a bit easier for the players to give feedback. We got a lot of feedback just on how the Discord should be run and to have more mods there, so people get directed to the right channel if they write in the wrong one. So that is coming. This week it's going to be updated, and the channel is going to be a lot more clear where you can post feedback, and so we can find it and read it.
Yep. Also put in there any kind of improvements that you've identified. I know controller remapping and key bindings was a hot topic kind of early on. Those are pretty easy fixes, improvements that we can do, little bits of added polish. More than happy to put them in whenever we can. So I like those little low-hanging fruit, the easy wins. So yeah, even if it seems completely obvious to you, it may not be completely obvious to us. So definitely put them in, and we'll consider it.
Are you ready for some questions?
I am ready for the questions.
It's time
Bring
for
it.
questions.
Bring it.
So this is going to be very much of a Q&A stream, since we have a bunch of questions to us loaded up from 2 weeks ago. So we're just gonna jump right into it. Will we get any sort of merchandise? Shirts, plushies, lore books, etc.?
Oh, merchandise.
I want some.
We've got some pretty cool posters, but no plans as yet on merchandise. That's not to say that we won't be looking at it, but we are a small team. Merchandise in of itself can be a little bit overwhelming, trying to organize that, but I think we want to focus on the game first before we start looking into those options. But if it's a popular thing, if a lot of people want it, again, we will consider it.
And let us know what you want.
Yes.
Not just merchandise.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be like T-Rex models or whatever.
That you have chainsaw that you can break.
Ooh.
Next one. Will DLC cost money? If so, how much? And will there be microtransactions on skin and cosmetics?
All right, so we're in the early access phase. There are no DCs planned. DLCs, not DCs. Yikes. Of course, all DCs are not planned. There'll be no planned DLCs. All of our updates and patches are all done effectively free of charge, because we know that the early access product is still kind of not there yet on where we want to be. And so every step that we take going forward in making sure that the game is getting closer to its launch readiness state helps us along the way. So yeah. But if you have some money spare that you want to support the development team, I have a PayPal account. No, I'm just kidding.
Will new dinosaurs get introduced as new types, or can they be introduced as mutations for pre-existing types?
Both. Right now, mutations is probably the fun thing at the moment. Because there's ways in which we can imagine a mutated rack, for example, right? But that's not to say that we're removing completely the introduction of new enemy species in of itself. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Will the community have any say in what dinosaurs we add to the game?
Only if they support the Microraptor with 4 wings. No, I'm kidding. No, we do want to engage the community in bringing in the dinosaurs. So I have been a big fan, and I keep pestering her to do it. So pester her now to get a vote for the next dino competition going. So you guys can sit there and tell us which dinosaur is going to win. That will be in the game based upon what you guys want. I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be the Spinosaurus, but really, the winner is the Microraptor. Just saying.
My inbox is already full. Will you get special stuff like weapon skins or some kind of trophy for completing emergence events?
Yes. So one of the things that we're looking at doing in the near future actually, sooner rather than later, is specialized achievements and contracts that will be tied to emergence events. So if we have a special emergence event that comes through, there will be a contract tied to it, and with that contract comes a specific reward. A special emergence event. It'll be a 1 or a 2 of a kind, only for that season type of thing. So keep playing the game, and then you get special stuff. So keep an eye out for those. For regular emergence events, as they pop up through the war effort, we're still looking at how we would make them to be a lot more rewarding in terms of whether it be a drop or whether it be anything beyond that, just completing it. But I think experience it first, see if you can actually beat the challenge, and then let's talk about what special stuff you get from it.
Will we get any rewards for playing the early access version of the game, like unique skin for all guns? Wow, or something similar.
Ooh, that's a bit of a. You get a reward right now. So any person that's purchased the game has gotten the early bird nameplate. That will disappear at the end of our season. Technically, we're in pre-season 1. So when we start up a new season, that nameplate disappears and you get another nameplate. So those nameplates will be how you show off your awesomeness. But like I said, there are cosmetics that will be dropping in that you'll have probably first access to as we go through.
Next one, how often do we plan to update both patches and content updates?
Ooh, frequently. Right now my goal is at least every month. What would be in that month is up to the roadmap. It is up to the feedback that we're receiving and the priorities that we get. Again, we're a small team, that we can't do everything. There's only about 30 or so people on hand, and we're doing quite a lot. So, but yeah, the idea is very, very frequent updates to make sure that things are improving as we go along, and you have more and more things to do.
Cool. This next one I'm going to have some trouble pronouncing. Do you have any plans for extinct reptiles outside of dinosaurs, like Pterosaurus?
Pterodactyls. It's a silent P.
Yeah. Cool. For the less informed me, it would be cool to shoot down swarms hailing down from the sky in a fiery hellstorm. I had to keep that last part of the question.
A fiery hellstorm.
Yeah.
That means a flamethrower. I'd be down for that. Flamethrowers and flying reptiles, as long as they're microwaved. No, open to it, honestly. I mean, dinosaurs are cool. Dinosaurs are very cool. Shooting dinosaurs is also very cool. But I also very much was a fan when I was younger of the mega fauna that happened after the dinosaurs. If you're familiar with those, right? They're the giant woolly mammoths or the giant wombats or the massive crocodiles or various other things. So maybe if we get into looking further down the future, but for now, it's dinos. We've got a whole slate of dinos right now. Of course, and anything that the community wants in terms of dinosaurs that we'll be bringing into the game. So, but not ruling out anything else.
Will new missions be added frequently to the game in early access, or will you stand by the ones you have now and maybe add a few until the full launch? So will we add some new missions?
So currently we're looking at just leaving the missions as is and building content beyond missions. So the missions do fulfill a very specific playing function. But we are looking into other playing functions that we can utilize within this game. So I mentioned on the roadmap, for example, horde mode. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not necessarily mission reliant, but that would be a really cool mode or a feature to come through. Similarly, we have, like I mentioned earlier, the free roam is something that we're looking to build into and build out of, because there's a lot of opportunity in really cool stuff within that area. So when we get to a position where we're starting to exhaust a lot of the breadth of opportunity, then we might look at missions. But for now, we're not looking at building any more missions at this point in time.
Cool. Will we lore fanatics have to look deep into everything for clues and secrets, or will the lore be like an open book?
Oh, right now, lore in the game is pretty threadbare. I understand the desire to be looking for like treasure hunting lore clues and various other things, and that may be something that we adopt and absorb over time as things happen. Things always happen because the dinos evolve and more research gets made and we find out more about the world, and things will start to, the storyline will start to develop on its own through what happens. So it's, keep an eye out. I'm not saying never, but I'm not giving away everything. So you'll have to find it out.
To wrap up this Q&A, we have quite a few, but rather quick lore questions that we're going to jump into.
All right, fire.
So how long has it been since the war?
About 5 to 10 years.
What are all the gateways named?
Oh gosh.
I feel so bad, like putting you on the spot here.
So I mean, the gateway that we based out of right now is Gateway Cygnus, which was named after the constellation Cygnus. Mm-hmm. But it is also named after a bird, the swan. Cygnus is a swan, or the Latin for swan. So your gateways, as they are named, would be either after birds or after constellations. Which one are they? You'll have to find out.
Next one. Are there secrets we have to find in-game to unravel the lore? You kind of touched on this one.
As I said, I feel like I talked to this one already. It will be revealed over time.
What part of the world is the first area we play in?
As much as it's called the Tundra map, technically we're in the Arctic.
Cool. Let's see. Are there still survivors living on Earth?
Possibly.
Is the ERA lying about something? Possibly. No.
probably the director's age. But no, they're not a shady organization by any means. If you're not familiar with the lore of the game or how it's set up, the ERA is more or less, they're like a Greenpeace. They're kind of like a Greenpeace organization, or they're a bit more structured, kind of like a mixture between the UN and Greenpeace. And so they have humanity's best interests in heart. They were originally pulled together because they were trying to combat climate change and the effects of climate change. So a lot of the resources and everything that they have just happen to be left over from when they were fighting climate change stuff. So they happen to have, random drop ships out in the middle of the Arctic. Now you know.
How convenient.
How convenient, yes. But yeah, they're not some sort of shady organization. We have no interest in making them a shady organization, but I mean, anytime that you put people who are passionate about something, who have a goal, getting to that goal can take very different paths. So if you look at the idea of reclaiming Earth, what does that mean, right? Do we go down and shoot every single dinosaur that we can and then hope for the best? Do we look at maybe taming the dinosaurs and creating our own dino army?
I know there's a lot of people who would like to tame the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like, geez, you people, these are evil mutated dinosaurs. Why do you want one as a pet? It's like, the thing will just
There
eat your
are some
face.
evil pets though that people love.
Really? Does anyone actually have an actual crocodile as a pet?
No, but like evil animals.
Evil animals. Like, what's an evil animal?
Well, my neighbor's cat was not very nice. My cat is super nice. But, yeah.
Fair enough. Yes, I suppose maybe they're only evil to other people. True. Maybe we can go all Tiger King on them, right? I actually have not seen the Netflix series, so I have no idea. I just know there's some sort of pop culture thing about tigers and
We're
some.
hip, okay.
We're totally hip. Like.
Okay, let's move on. Will we have information from sources other than the ERA files?
Yes. Like I said, information will be revealed over time, and it may not necessarily be in the game. I would like to encourage people to be engaging and interactive with all of our social media channels, because there may be some information that gets communicated through them. And I think you missed a bullet point. I think you missed a question.
I did. Do you want to tell me which one?
Is the ERA telling the truth about how the dinosaurs came back? Yes.
You can just go on.
Yeah, that's a simple answer. That was a yes. They're telling the truth. Like, dinosaurs lived under the earth. They mutated. They evolved. They got evil. They'd take over the earth. They killed everything. Everything.
And they miss on a dark note.
Everything.
That's actually all the questions that we have. Yeah.
Yep.
Next week, we're going to see how this concept will live on. We actually got some new restrictions here in the south of Sweden today when it comes getting to work on buses and stuff, and even like hanging out with other people that are not your family. So yeah, it might be, well, it's already online, but online for me too, like separate from home.
Might be a Google Hangout that we chill.
We'll make something happen. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and in some shape or form, we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.